Baywatch is a fantasy.
Baywatch was sexy.
Baywatch was the #1 show in the world. It was hot. When you hear that theme song,
I had no idea how much fun I was gonna have.
It was addicting. People were just hungry. They were eating that stuff alive.
How was it getting back together? Because like, there are certain shows that, because the cast is so big, and some of you guys, like, you barely worked together with probably you two? Right, you worked together a bit. How was it like being part of the Baywatch family and getting back together for this project?
Well, you know, we did get to know each other afterwards. Different reunions, different parties, different get-togethers, and you kind of just introduce yourself to each other, right? You get to know each other, but it was really fun. It was really fun to reach out to everybody and see what they're doing and see if they wanted to be involved. It's a good time.
How about you revisiting? Because this was like, not only did you grow up on the show, but then we also got to see you go through some stuff after the show, and we were like, well, what's happening with Hobie?
Well, I'm happy to tell you that these people visited me while I was in jail, so they are very much my family. So we've stayed in close contact. Like Nicole said, there's been kind of reunions and wedding receptions and things of that nature. We all kind of come back together. We've never lost touch. But to come back and do this documentary and tell the story behind the story and get into the nitty-gritty and the lives between then and now, and really, what shaped an era in our world, and to kind of show people that Baywatch was this original live stream, man. Before there was Facebook and Instagram, if you wanted to see what was hot, what was trending, what was cool, you go on. And this is how you model your life after, which is like mind-blowing because, Matt Felker, who put the project together with Nicole, I mean, it shaped his life. He was in Wisconsin watching Baywatch. He's like, okay, when I grow up, I'm gonna have hair like Hobie and I'm gonna have abs like Dave Chokchi, and then I'll be cool, And here he comes out to LA, makes it big, and he decides, you know what? I want to show the world what Baywatch meant to me. It changed my life, and it changed a lot of other people's lives. I know at least two people have come up to me and told me, I learned CPR from watching Baywatch, and I saved a life by watching Baywatch. That's happened hundreds of times.
I'm gonna say it. I learned how to survive a riptide from Baywatch. I was in Costa Rica and I got caught in a riptide. It was one of those beaches where like it was just me and my friends, and I got caught up in it. I was like, hold on. I know, just go along the coastline and just let it take me down. I was like, I'm Mitch Buchanan right now.
WWB, dude, what would Baywatch do?
And then you joined at like kind of that tipping point where it was like the whole world was watching. It was in every country. It was getting soapier. Yeah. Like when Cody came in, it was like, we've got soap opera stuff. We've got Neely. We've got, how was it for you stepping into a phenomenon?
I mean, it was a little intimidating at first, obviously, because it was a machine that was just in full, just going. But, I was, when I walked into the casting, they were looking, they'd seen like 1,000 guys, East Coast, West Coast, and I hadn't said a word yet. And I'd walk in the door and they go, you're the guy. I was like, what? And then obviously, a bunch of auditions, swim tests and all that stuff. But I grew up on the ocean on the East Coast, and my skill set from having those skills as I was a sailing instructor, I raced sailboats, I was on a swim team, all that translated over to my character. He was supposed to be an Olympic hopeful. Yep. So when they saw that and they saw me in the pool, they were like, "Wow, he knows how to dive. This kid can swim, And I could drive boats. I could drive the Scarabs, which not a lot of people could do. And it was I was kind of a perfect fit for the show, and it was just like the right timing. And
it was. And so we've seen a lot, especially like my generation is watching a lot of stuff coming out about stuff that we watched and loved. What is this going to tell us about the Baywatch experience for you guys that we're maybe not going to love hearing about?
Well, I mean, I think you're gonna learn how people really felt maybe about being in a bathing suit all the time in front of the world, because I think everybody came across so confident and so beautiful, right? You just assumed that that's their thing, and they just know how to turn that on and off. So I think you'll hear, a lot of people's struggles with what that means and what that means with the aging process for females, because it's very common to see a Daily Mail, and it's, a 19-year-old Nicole Eggert next to a 52-year-old Nicole Eggert out grocery shopping.
What happened to her?
How dare you age?
So, you'll get to really, find out what went on in between all of those years, and just give a more well-rounded look at everybody.
So how was it for you guys coming into the show and seeing it kind of snowball into something that was wildly, it was canceled and then it was huge?
Yeah, it was very. You go first.
You know what? So when we were originally on NBC, it was just a different show. What it became, the second, third, fourth, and then when she came on, the syndication, it was just very different, and also the direction of the show changed, right? I mean, when it was on NBC, it was kind of family show, chips on the beach kind of thing. Yeah. As it progressed, it became far more about, pretty people. Now, yes, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying.
I'll give him a few minutes and then I'll defend.
No. I'm just saying it shifted a little bit. And I better shut up. I'm going down a path.
I didn't watch. I didn't see the network show, so I can't. I'm sorry.
See, well,
I'm sorry.
So
I can't compare. I would like to say something based on what you said. It was a serious look at lifeguarding. When I say that, people laugh, and it's true. That you had cop shows, you had lawyer shows, you had doctor shows. This was about lifeguarding.
Right.
Everything we did was by the book. The swimsuits were standard issued suits. It was everything was done regulation on NBC at that time. It was very, very conservative. When we went syndicated, everything went out the window.
Right, and we didn't have Big Brother anymore, right? You didn't have standards and practices.
The bathing suits, the hips went up. We were in thongs, basically. The necklines plunged, and the direction of the show did change. It became a lot of music montages. It became very, eye candy. And it did change a lot.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
No.
It just changed.
Over the course, though, it still took on themes and topics that shows that are still taking on. There was a lot of domestic abuse storylines, homelessness, runaways, cancer scares, pregnancy scares. There was a lot of stuff going on. And then when you came in, it really had entered its soap era. And that's where it became about the romances and the relationships, and we still had great rescues and action, but then when you were there, it was, that was the dawn of, you, Caroline, Neely, it getting Melrosey.
Yeah. I remember I came on the show in the second year of syndication. You both had the experience of having it be network and then syndication. So I didn't have the expectation of anything but what it was.
Sure.
Right. I remember the time though when it changed and it became much more glamorous. And this was, we didn't wear much makeup in the first part of the first season. But then we took a trip to Coronado del Sol, which was in San Diego, and there was a ghost, and there weren't rescues, and it wasn't on the beach anymore, and suddenly I was wearing a dress and we started and then the makeup just went boing, and I was a little shocked actually, and it never kind of went down as much as it did. It never went as as it was before. That was the turning point, that two-part thing, Coronado del Sol it was called, part 1 and 2. But we still had great rescues and great, and good storylines with relationships between people. Yes.
Again, I'm not saying it was just different. It just was different. I mean, one of my favorite episodes was the Gilligan's Island episode.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think we would have ever done that if it were on the network, right? Yeah. So again, I'm not criticizing, just saying it just changed a little bit. It just morphed into what it became,
So ladies, you guys came in to this show when it was at its height. It was hot as hell, and they were amping it up. What was it like stepping into the world of Baywatch and seeing that global appeal?
I was a huge fan already, and I was working at MTV. So I was hosting shows, and I guess someone at Baywatch saw a clip and invited me to come in and audition. And I did, but I really, really wanted to be on the show. Because I just loved, I would watch it and go, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. Look at his body. But that was just me. That's just me. That's, you know,
Of course.
and probably maybe most of the world,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
at that point.
Right. And
Right?
for me, I was, not that I was not a fan, I was just busy doing other, like, you know, television shows, other movies and things like that. And I never thought I would do a show where there was, you know, considered all, like, white people, sexy white people with big boobs running up and down the beach. And I'm
It
thinking,
was very iconic
yeah, and I thought,
for
well,
the cast. You know,
Right.
I mean,
Where
that
do,
was
where do I fit in that?
That's
Well,
true, right?
what-
True.
definitely
yeah,
because
and it was
if we were to shoot it in these times,
Oh, yeah.
It's a
it would be a
no-brainer.
completely different narrative.
well, it was
You know,
an
but
honor. And
that was like what? Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
And
but
Jordan
for
would have actually
me-
been able to say, we don't get our hair wet.
Yeah, exactly. No, we can't get it because the black girls, we can't get our hair wet. But I'm like, I was honored that they asked me. I came on when they were looking for the people of color. It was when I heard the NAACP was coming down on this show Baywatch because there weren't people of color. So when I started with Jose Solano was the first and only Hispanic male. So for me to be on a show like that and a legendary, iconic show, first woman of color, it broke molds because it was black people can't swim. Well, everyone who can take the chance to learn how to save their lives or other people, you know, you can swim and you learn how to do so much
That's
on the
my
show.
girl.
Yes.
Smashed.
So it was
Dreams
just
come
an
true.
honor. It was just an honor because there's someone for everyone on the beach. Everyone goes to the beach, so it just made it more realistic.
You just said dreams come true, and I know this is a dream come true for you.
15-year-old self is really stoked right now.
You watched this show like so many of us, and now you've brought these people all back together.
Yeah, it's pretty
Sure did.
pretty bizarre because I didn't really know anyone other than Nicole Eggert, and that she was sort of the catalyst to start this.
Is there like a giant WhatsApp of Baywatch cast members?
There's like here and there, there's kind of groups here and groups there are not.
Because
on social
everyone's
media.
scattered, so it's like they weren't on the same seasons type thing. So it's like they know of each other. They maybe see them, you know, once every 5 years. But it's such a big ensemble cast. It's very hard tracking everyone down.
And then there was
All different
Baywatch
stages of
Hawaii
Yeah,
as
which is
well.
totally different as well.
Which
And
is
then-
weird
and the
because your character
reunion.
was Hawaiian.
Yes,
She was half
Lonnie,
Hawaiian.
But
Lana,
you never went
Lana
over
was
to
your-
it.
Yeah.
Well, no, we
Yeah.
did. We ended up.
Did you go over?
in Alaska.
Oh yeah, and then that's when I got to.
I wasn't invited.
Alaska. I don't even want to think about.
I don't know
Alaska.
why.
It was
that's
so
what
cold.
we needed to talk about on
It
the
was.
show.
Yeah.
You
Sad.
were happy that you didn't have to go to
Yeah,
Alaska.
Alaska
I
did
heard that.
definitely seem like Thunder Bay. Yeah.
Going up onto top of glaciers in helicopters and bathing suits. Trust me.
And you're forced
Yeah,
to
we
Trust
do
me.
it.
You're so lucky.
So, as a fan
But
and somebody who
why-
came in, what was it for you? What was it like for you finding out some of the things about the show that maybe we never knew, that like maybe we don't want to know?
Well, I've said this before. We didn't really know what this was going to look like in the beginning. We did an error. We just started filming people, which normally you do, you know, kind of like pre-interviews, kind of see what the story is, and we just ran. And we did about 10 interviews really fast right before the pandemic, like back to back to back to back. And I kind of sat with the footage and I was like, this is kind of boring. And I've heard all this before. And we kind of reevaluated what it was going to look like. And the pandemic then happened. We had a pause, and because of that pause, it allowed me to actually form relationships with everyone. So we have Zoom calls, you have conversations. Carmen took me a year to get her on camera.
Sorry.
Scott, the publicist in the back.
I did it though. I made it.
I remember talking to Scott. It was like in the pandemic, I was standing on the roof of my house trying to get sun at the end of the day, and I remember talking to Scott and trying to plead my case of why Carmen needed to be in this. So it wasn't
and
easy.
then also we did it. We didn't get paid to do it. We did it. The
Just-
interviews because
Just because
Yeah, and
because
that's
we
another
needed
good
to-
we
point.
wanted to.
to be realistic.
Not one person was paid for this,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
we put almost 40 people on camera.